Welcome to my studio tour. Today I'm excited to bring you behind the scenes to check out my brand new studio space that we just remodeled. But first I want to give you a little information about what the studio is used for and what problems this new space was solving. So my artwork usually has two components to it. There's a digital aspect and a handmade aspect. The handmade aspect includes hand lettering, watercolors, sketching, doodling, and painting. I'm a professional graphic designer by trade, so on the computer I mainly work in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and my husband and I collaborate on video editing. I'm also a huge fan of Procreate on the iPad, so both of those two worlds collide there nearly every day. Now that you have a little bit of a background of what the studio is used for, I want to share what my old space looked like. That way you can have a really good before and after comparison with the changes we made and what makes my workflow much more efficient now. This is the before, my old space. I've got links to everything in the video description, so if you see anything in the video you'd like to know more about, check that out. The way our home is set up, we have this kind of random space as part of the master bedroom. This is the space I've used for the past 3.5 years as my studio. You can see I've got the computer right in the middle of this super long desk. I work off of two monitors, Mac Pro's monitor for all my design work, and I typically use the other monitor for my email and my web browser as I'm working. To the left, you'll see another monitor as well as a tower below the desk. I teach a course on font making which accommodates both Mac and PC users, so that's the PC I use for that portion of the course. I'm primarily a Mac user, which is why the PC hangs out in the corner. To the right of my computer is the desk I recorded all of my hand lettering and craft style tutorials. You'll see it's a pretty tiny space, especially with my printer tucked into the corner there. I used this extension arm to hold my phone while I recorded, and it's affixed to a wall shelf because there's carpeting in here, and if the table wobbles at all, the phone would too. So that's what I used for a really long time, though honestly, I always really hated recording this way. My phone space would fill up super fast when recording in HD, and getting the phone at just the right angle so the artwork below it wouldn't look skewed was a whole other nightmare. I kept all my art supplies and paper in those two IKEA drawer units, as well as the medium format printer, and right above it is the dry erase calendar. I actually use this calendar all the time. Although I have an online editorial calendar, having all the events for just the current month up on the wall helps me to stay organized and plan things out really well each month. Behind the desk is a sofa and some wall decor. That's Nuna Petunia on the couch there. Whenever I recorded myself sitting at the desk, this was the backdrop, so Spence, my husband, and I spent some time planning out and organizing it so you'd have something pretty to look at behind me. The space worked for those years, but the tiny space for iPad and craft tutorials was the biggest pain of all. I also worked from the daylight in this room, and it was so inconsistent on all the videos, especially when I showed time lapses. It kind of embarrassed me. Our AC unit is right outside the craft table's window, so I'd have to shut it off every time I recorded so you wouldn't hear it running in the background. I live outside of Atlanta, Georgia, so in the summer we have crazy heat and humidity, and having to shut it off even for an hour made the whole house really uncomfortable. So yeah, not ideal. So you can see right outside the old studio is the bedroom part of our master bedroom. It's the second biggest room in all of our house. Only the living room is bigger. That's the original paint from the previous owners when we bought our house 5 years ago, and I hated it so much, but we kept spending our time improving the other parts of our house first, so that color stayed for 5 years. Still kind of cringing about that. So I went to my husband Spencer one day when I was feeling particularly frustrated. I think I lost some of the footage, or it was just taking forever to upload on the computer, and I had had enough. So we sat and we're trying to figure out what we could do about this from ever happening again in the future. And my biggest issue was space, and our master bedroom was the second largest space in the house, and Spence threw out the idea of switching where our bed was with where my old studio was. And we were both like, oh my God, will it work? Grab the tape measure. So we started measuring everything out, and amazingly, everything was going to fit. So we got really, really excited and started planning everything out. We did different layouts on the computer to have a game plan for when we were ready to start making the change, and we just got to work. So now that you've seen the old studio and heard about what the issues were, it's time to reveal the new space. Are you ready? Let's start with the computer desk and go from there. When I record design work on the computer, it's a screen recording, so it made sense to keep the computer in front of the window, since inconsistent daylight wouldn't be a factor there. I was able to keep both of my monitors, and for my supplies, I put one drawer unit below the desk, and I have some supplies on the other, and I still keep the dry erase calendar above it. We had an extra IKEA bookshelf in our hallway, so we moved it into the studio so I could organize the rest of my supplies, sketchbooks, and design and craft books. On top of the bookshelf are props I use to style our photos and videos. Now they're all in one place and super easy to get to whenever we're filming. Behind my computer desk is my craft desk, and I have to say, this is my favorite part of the whole studio because I work here so often. This is the AnthroDesk, which has been such a game changer for me. Instead of being hunched over my iPad or watercolors, with literally the push of a button, I can raise it up, get my posture in check, and get back to working. I never thought I would enjoy doing craft style projects or hand lettering standing up, but it's so comfortable. I also picked up the standing mat that AnthroDesk offers, and it makes standing even on carpet way more comfortable. It has a slight angle to it, which improves my posture and allows me to work longer standing than I normally would. When I'm not using it for standing, I lower it down, put a chair in front, and I'm good to go. It's really great having all these options with a desk that gets so much use. Behind the AnthroDesk is the sofa, which is still a great backdrop for when I'm talking on screen at my desk. You'll notice we added some shiplap. This is the Hampton style of stickwood. A quick reminder, links to everything in this video are right in the video's description. On top of the shiplap behind the sofa, we had a custom logo cut out of MDF board and painted, which I think is all the wall needs. We both really love how it came out. So let's get to the tech side of things, since on top of the remodel, we also upgraded the camera, lighting, and audio equipment. Now, no more iPhone recordings. We've officially made the switch to a Canon EOS R with a 24-7mm lens. We bought some extra stands and arms to be able to hold the camera right above the desk. We hooked the camera up to my PC monitor so it's easy to check what's in view while I'm recording, so you can have the best experience when you're watching. Way better than the little pop-out screen on the camera. The new light is the Aperture 120D, which allows me to now record any time of day and keep everything looking super consistent, light and bright. I used to record everything on a USB mic, but now that I'm far away from the computer, that needed an upgrade too. I'm now on the Rode NTG4 Plus shotgun mic that's hooked into a Zoom H4n Pro hand recorder. Once the audio is finished, we optimize it in Adobe Audition, then pair it with the video in Premiere for final editing. So that's the new studio. Having the extra space and separating those two desks has already made such a difference in my workflow. I can't believe we didn't think to do this earlier. If you have any questions about what you saw or would like to see other things behind the scenes, please leave them in the comments right below this video. If you enjoyed the tour, please hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you can be notified of new videos just like this in the future. You can also find more of my videos over on my site, every-tuesday.com, and I'm on Instagram. My handle is @everytuesday. Thanks so much for being a part of this tour, and I will see you next week.